Hello, my name is Brianna Schroeder. I'm an attorney with Jansen Agricultural Law LLC here in Indianapolis, Indiana. This is a 10-minute webcast. It's the second of a series of educational webcasts designed for busy people. We've limited our videos to about 10 minutes so you can watch them while you eat lunch or are sitting in line, waiting at the airport, or really anywhere. Since we only have 10 minutes, let's get going. Today's webcast is about some basic zoning tips for livestock operations. I'm going to be talking about 6 basic steps to obtain the necessary county zoning permissions for your project. When I think about these steps, it's typically in terms of a livestock project in Indiana, like a confined feeding operation or CFO, a farm expansion, or something like that. But these steps also work for any county zoning project, including building a new barn or adding signage down at the road. Each of these steps could fill its own webcast, but today we only have 10 minutes, so let's keep moving. I'm happy to take questions later via telephone or email. First, I always recommend talking to the county. Call or have your attorney call or even stop by the county zoning department. Introduce yourself, provide your contact information, and explain generally the project you're considering. Find out what the county believes you will need to do to move forward with the project. If the county has an application packet, obtain a copy of it. Find out what deadlines apply. Typically, if you need to go before a county board of any type, there's going to be a deadline for document submittal several weeks or even a month before the county board's meeting. Clearly, you need to plan ahead. If you want to start construction in early spring, you need to back up from there several months to submit your application documents, attend the necessary meetings, sometimes there's more than one, and give the county time to rule on your application. Next, it's important to educate yourself on the applicable county rules and state rules related to your project. If you want to build a swine barn, what rules apply? You may have an attorney and or a consultant helping you at this point, so make sure they are educated regarding applicable rules and state statutes. Indiana counties that have enacted zoning ordinances must have a comprehensive plan. Some counties make this available online. If your county does not, ask the zoning director for a hard copy or an emailed version. Same thing with the zoning map. Some places make their zoning designations easily available online on websites like Beacon. For other counties, you'll need to request the zoning map in person or via email. Finally, you'll need a copy of the zoning ordinances. This is a generally pretty long document. These could be electronically available, or you might have to locate a hard copy from the county planning and zoning department. Check the zoning map to see what your property is zoned. Review the permitted uses and relevant definitions to see if your type of project is specifically addressed. Now would be a good time to contact your livestock industry group or farm bureau to see if they have any advice regarding your project and its location. Next, it's time to chart your plan. If you believe that your project requires some kind of official county permission, it's likely time to seek professional help if you haven't already. Build the cost of an attorney into your project budget. Spending a few more dollars now to get it done right is worth it in the long run. The zoning process involves building a record in case anybody appeals the county's ultimate decision, so it's important to provide the appropriate information to the county board via your application and during any county hearings that go on. To build a livestock barn, you may need a rezone, which is changing the zoning designation from its current status, usually to AG or some variation of AG, ag production, AG3, something like that. This generally requires a hearing in front of the Planning Commission, who then sends up a recommendation to the county commissioners, who make the final decision. You might need a special exception. This is special permission from the county based on a list of county-specific considerations or elements. This typically involves a public hearing in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals or the BZA. Another option is a variance, which is essentially asking the county not to strictly apply the zoning rules to your particular piece of property. Finally, if you're expanding or changing your existing operations, your property might be considered a legal nonconforming use and could be grandfathered in. So you might be able to avoid some of these other steps. The general process for most of these items is generally the same. First, you'll need to file an application with the county. This can be as simple as including your name, the property location, and a general description of the intended project. Or it could be more involved and might include providing engineering drawings and environmental information. Once you turn in your application, there's publication requirements. Usually you'll have to publish notice of your application and any public hearings to discuss your application in the local newspaper. Some county offices will help with this. Finally, you may have an obligation to notify your neighbors. Some counties require notice within a half mile of your project. Some require notice to adjoining property owners, and others have their own kind of notice scheme. Publication and neighbor notification are generally basic threshold issues, so you can't move forward unless and until you provide proper notice. Next up, the most fun part, the public meeting. Rezones, special exceptions, and variances all require a public hearing. The general outline for what's required is spelled out in Indiana Code 36.7, but each county has its own procedure for a hearing. Typically, the planning director will present each item on the meeting agenda. This could include a recommendation to the board regarding what it should do, or it might simply point out potential challenges or legal questions. The applicant, that's you, then presents its request and answers questions from the board and perhaps the audience. Remonstrators will be allowed to speak, then the board will make a decision. Now, sometimes this can take just 15 minutes. Sometimes it can take 4 hours. With a rezone, the county body first up is a planning commission who will provide a recommendation to the county commissioners. Then at their next meeting, the county commissioners would vote to approve, reject, or table the rezone. For a special exception, applicants will attend a public hearing before the Board of Zoning Appeals, the BZA. Variances also go before the BZA. Applicants should be prepared to provide information to the public body sufficient to let it make a decision in line with state and county zoning rules. Remonstrators may also speak and or present evidence and ask questions. After the meeting, at the end of the meeting, the county body would typically approve, deny, or table your request. If tabled, it'll be taken up at the next meeting. Applications sometimes are tabled to allow more public comment, to allow board members to think about it more, or if there's no quorum for the board, they may postpone a decision until they can have enough people present. County can approve or deny a request as it is written, or they can impose conditions on a request for a special exception. After the public body makes its decision, impacted parties typically have about 30 days to appeal the decision. This time frame is critical, so do not sit on your rights. If you haven't already, contact an attorney for help appealing a decision or defending a decision against an appeal. If the county body grants you the permission you need to operate and build your livestock farm, find out whether you need to obtain a building permit, improvement, location permit, or any other kind of zoning compliance certification before you begin construction or stock the barns. To summarize, there are different county rules for almost every county in Indiana. Some counties don't even have zoning rules, and consider yourself lucky if you want to build in such a county. Talk to your county first, get the general lay of the land. Educate yourself to know what rules might apply. Hire a lawyer to help you if your application could be controversial. Decide on a plan regarding what permissions you'll need. Prepare your relevant documents. Attend the public hearing. Present your case and answer questions from the board and public. Remember, you're creating a record, so make sure you address all of the statutory and ordinance elements that are relevant to your project. Know your appellate rights and don't sit on those rights since they are time sensitive. If approved, construct your project and operate your barns in accordance with county and state rules. That wraps up today's 10-minute webcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please come back on November 7th for my colleague Todd Jansen's webcast on another ag law topic. In the meantime, visit us at aglaw.us for more information on zoning and other agricultural topics. You can reach me at 310